and there could be wider implications of this on labor organizing efforts. I've been speaking to lawyer Daniel Rosenthal.
So I'm using the Choyong LC90 with the BBC World Service right now connected to my internet. Wanted to rectify something that I said because it is interesting. I had mentioned that on Wi-Fi it seems that the battery life was not as good, but I understand one thing here that I didn't take into account. This radio shuts off with this button, but it's not like shutting off. And that's the curious thing about this radio. It reacts more like a computer than a radio. So when you turn off the power here, it definitely turns off the radio like this. And then I could turn it back on. And then I could, it's going to continue where it was. So if like I was listening to BBC, it's going to here reload the BBC. But you notice that it stayed connected. And what's happening with this,
a lot of Starbucks workers around the country,
is that in reality, to shut off the radio, you really have to press the power button and hold it until it says shut down. And a lot of the times I didn't do that. I just, like a regular radio, just shut the knob off and thought that it was fine. But no, because the radio stays kind of in a sleep mode. So every time I would actually want to use the radio, the battery was depleted. And it was kind of curious. I was wondering why. And now I understand that you really have to power off when you don't use it for a while. It's the only way that the battery is going to keep up. So battery life is actually much better now. If you understand this rule, that when you shut down the radio with the power knob at the bottom, you have to press and hold until it says shut down or power off in the display, and then the radio is really powered off. If you don't power off by the button here, your radio is in sleep mode, and what's going to happen is it's going to continue using battery. So this is a little something that I've learned. Also, Choyong did tell me that there is a ferrite inside an internal antenna for medium wave, long wave. But I guess it's probably too close to the circuitry because it's very, very noisy, so you're better off with an external antenna. But with this little trick that I've kind of learned by myself, that you have to shut it down pretty much like a PC. When you do that, you actually get decent battery life. The battery in this radio is 5,000 milliamp hour apparently. So it should power this radio for a long time. So I've been listening to Wi-Fi internet feeds for the last 4 hours now. And if you look at the battery indicator at the top, still pretty much full. So this is decent. So and another trick, if the radio has a battery that's half full or just quarter full, you plug it in and it says that it is fully charged. Power off with the button here. When you see power off and it's completely gone, start it again, and then when you plug it in, you're going to see it's going to start charging again. This is kind of a little glitch. It doesn't, when it kind of finds that it's fully charged, it doesn't really kind of realize it's not necessarily fully charged if you leave it alone for a while. So you shut it off, power back on, and just plug in the charger, and it's going to work fine. So still playing with this radio. I am enjoying the Choyong, honestly. Since the birdies are gone from shortwave, and listening to my favorite stream. I don't listen to a lot of streams because it's kind of difficult to. By the way, the next firmware for this radio promises to have a lot of cool fixes, so this is going to make the radio even better. So if you have one and you're not sure, because somebody told me I returned it, internet radio stuff to go through. Well, that's the thing, it's an upgradable radio, so they are going to play and fix some of the problems with that in the next firmware 4.5, I believe, something like that, 4.6. So whatever version it's going to be, a lot of the bugs are going to be fixed. They're actually asking everybody what should be fixed, and I kind of threw in there the single sideband would be nice. If that would be fixed, I would give this radio a much higher note. So also the other thing I did is, you notice that my screen goes down because when you go into the menu here, I like to go here and leave it on all the time, always. That's my favorite setting. I always like that on the radio. So that, of course, is also something that will take more battery. So just a few little pointers here on the Choyong LC90 smart radio. But I'm liking it. You know, it depends. If you can't cope with the problems, and some can't, well, you know, maybe it's not a radio for you.
Labor is also getting more expensive in China, and as the population grows.
So I hope you enjoy my little update here on the Choyong radio. Just make sure that when you power off by holding a power button and holding the power button until it says shut down. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching.